The Reddit post that exposed a secret bunker under a New York backyard. In the summer of 2021, a man in upstate New York posted a question on a popular home improvement forum on Reddit. He had recently purchased an old farmhouse on several acres of land. The property had been abandoned for years. The previous owner had died with no heirs, and the bank had sold it at auction for a price so low that the man thought he was getting the deal of a lifetime. He was wrong. The man, who used the username NYFarmhouseGuy, posted a simple message. He said he had found something strange in his backyard. A metal hatch, hidden under 6 inches of soil and overgrown grass. It was heavy. It was rusted, and it was locked from the outside. He asked the community for advice. Should he open it? Should he call someone? What could possibly be buried in a residential backyard that required a vault door? The replies came quickly. Most were jokes. Buried treasure. A doomsday prepper's stash. Jimmy Hoffa, the usual internet humor. But a few replies were more serious. They told him to be careful. They said that old properties sometimes have abandoned septic tanks or wells. They said he should call the county before opening anything. NYFarmhouseGuy read the replies. He appreciated the concern. But curiosity got the better of him. He cut the lock. What he found beneath that hatch has become one of the most discussed and debated posts in Reddit history. And then, without warning, the post stopped. The user deleted his account. The thread was removed. But screenshots had already been taken, and what they show will make you think twice about what might be buried in your own backyard. The man posted updates over the course of 3 days. The first update came a few hours after the original post. He had opened the hatch. A ladder descended into darkness. The air coming up was cold and dry. Not the damp, earthy smell of a cellar. Something sterile. Artificial. He climbed down. The ladder went deeper than he expected, maybe 30 feet. At the bottom, he found a short corridor made of concrete. The walls were smooth. The floor was clean. There was no dust, no cobwebs, no signs of neglect. It looked like it had been built recently or maintained regularly. The corridor ended at a heavy steel door, the kind you see in submarines. It had a wheel mechanism. NYFarmhouseGuy turned the wheel. It moved easily. The door swung open. And then he saw it. A room. A large room, maybe 40 feet by 40 feet. Fluorescent lights flickered on automatically when the door opened. The room was filled with equipment. Rows of metal shelving, industrial-sized containers of food and water. A generator. A ventilation system, a communications console with screens that were dark but still connected to cables that disappeared into the ceiling. It was a bunker. A fully functional, fully stocked underground bunker. But that was not the strange part. The strange part was what the bunker contained in its center. A chair. A single metal chair bolted to the floor. And attached to the chair were restraints. Leather straps on the armrests, leather straps on the leg rests, a thick leather strap across where the chest would be. And on the floor beneath the chair, dark stains that looked disturbingly like old blood. NYFarmhouseGuy took photos. Dozens of them. He posted them to the thread. The community went from joking to horrified in minutes. Commenters begged him to call the police. Some pointed out details he had not noticed. The restraints on the chair were not designed for a prisoner. They were designed for someone small. A child. The communications console was not for radio. It was for monitoring. Someone had been watching something from this room, or someone had been watched. The shelves contained not just food and water, but medical supplies. Surgical tools, vials of medication that commenters with medical backgrounds identified as powerful sedatives. And on one shelf, neatly arranged, were a collection of photographs. Polaroids. NYFarmhouseGuy did not show the photos. He said he could not. He said some of them were too disturbing. but he described one. A picture of a young boy, maybe 8 years old, sitting in the metal chair. The boy was not smiling. His eyes were closed. He appeared to be asleep or unconscious. That was when the thread took its darkest turn. A commenter said the farmhouse sounded familiar. He did some digging. He found old newspaper articles from the 1980s. The farmhouse had once belonged to a man named Gerald, a quiet bachelor who kept to himself. In 1985, Gerald was arrested after a missing child was found wandering on a nearby road. The child was disoriented. Dehydrated, he had marks on his wrists and ankles, marks that looked like they came from restraints. The child told police he had been kept underground in a metal room, with a man who wore a white coat and told him he was helping him. Gerald was charged with kidnapping and unlawful imprisonment. But he never went to trial. He was found dead in his jail cell, apparently from a heart attack. The case was closed. The farmhouse was abandoned. The bunker, if the police had ever known about it, was never mentioned in any public record. The commenter posted links to the articles. They matched the property, the owner, the description of the underground room. The thread exploded. NYFarmhouseGuy was silent for several hours. Then, late that night, he posted his final update. He said he had gone back down into the bunker. He had noticed something he missed the first time. A second door, behind a shelving unit. He moved the shelf and opened the door. Beyond it was another corridor, longer than the first. It sloped downward. He followed it for what felt like 100 yards. The concrete walls gave way to rough stone. The air grew colder, the lights flickered, and then stopped entirely. He used his phone flashlight. The corridor ended at a cave, a natural underground space deep beneath his property. And in that cave, there were more chairs, more restraints, more stains on the floor, and something else. A figure, sitting in one of the chairs, still, silent, dressed in a white coat, like a doctor. Its back was turned. It did not move when he approached. NYFarmhouseGuy wrote that he called out to the figure. No response. He took a step closer. The figure's head turned, slowly, too slowly, and the face he saw was not human. It was dried, shrunken, a mummified corpse, preserved by the cold, dry air of the cave. The figure in the white coat had been dead for a long time, years, maybe decades, but it was still sitting in that chair, still waiting, still watching over the empty room and the empty chairs and the stains on the stone floor. NYFarmhouseGuy's final sentence was this: "I'm calling the police now. I'll update when I can." That was his last post. The thread was removed from Reddit within hours. His account was deleted. All attempts to contact him failed. The police in the county where the farmhouse was located have never released any information about a bunker or a body found on a property matching this description. No news outlets have reported on the story. It is as if it never happened, but the screenshots remain. Dozens of people saved them before the thread vanished. The photos of the hatch, the corridor, the room, the chair. They circulate on forums dedicated to unexplained mysteries and internet rabbit holes. Is the story real? Did a man really discover a secret bunker full of horrors beneath his new home? Did he really find the mummified body of a kidnapper who had died underground and never been discovered? And if so, why has the entire incident been covered up? Or is the story an elaborate hoax, a piece of fiction crafted by a talented writer who knew how to manipulate an online audience? The photos could have been staged. The newspaper articles could have been fabricated. The deleted account and the silence could be the final act of a performance. But if it was a hoax, it was an unusually detailed one. And it left one question that even the skeptics cannot answer. If the story is fake, then who was the real Gerald? because newspaper archives do contain a record of a man named Gerald who was arrested in upstate New York in 1985 for kidnapping. The child did exist. The charges were real. And Gerald did die in his jail cell before trial. The farmhouse exists too. Someone bought it at auction in 2021. The property records are public. The new owner's name is not listed online, but the sale is documented. So the pieces are real. What is not known is what happened after the sale. Did the new owner find the hatch? Did he go down? Did he find the room and the chair and the second corridor and the cave? And if he did, is he still down there? Because someone posted those updates. Someone took those photos. Someone described the bunker in vivid, horrifying detail. And then someone stopped posting. If you ever buy an old house with land and you find a metal hatch hidden under the grass, think very carefully before you open it. Think about the man who posted on Reddit and then disappeared. Think about the child who was found wandering on a road with marks on his wrists. Think about the figure in the white coat, still sitting in that cave, still waiting. Some doors are sealed for a reason. Some secrets are buried because they are too terrible to see the light. And some people go underground and never come back. Sleep well.